It's literally a newspaper.
It's a newspaper. It's Pepperdine's version.
I've never read it, so.
I read the Conservative Review, and I watch a lot of the news. I try to look at a variety of different news sources, however, so I could get a different perspective on things that I'm reading, especially if it's something like the Supreme Court justice that you say. You don't just want to read one side's viewpoint on him and the viewpoints that he has on certain issues. So you want to see both sides of the agenda and then make a decision if you support or don't.
What news topics are you generally interested in? Social issues, politics, sports, features on individuals?
I'd probably say sports, just because that's kind of what I grew up with. Like, everybody in my family has played sports at once, like, or multiple sports in our lifetime, so that always interests me. And then, I mean, I know it's hard to, like, make it personal, but just something that does relate to me personally, like, whether it's something on campus, like, that relates to every Pepperdine student, or something about, like, my job, or, I mean, I work with Porsche, so it's like, when Porsche says something, like, that really interests me because that pertains to my job and what I have to do for work, so.
You're talking about for the graphic, right?
In general.
In general news? Okay. Most I like to know what's going on with our government, just because, like, the more I'm getting into about to leave school, I need to know where I'm going to be standing. So I like to know what's going on with that, and sports. It's always intrigued me. Always like to know what's going on.
For me, probably socially what's going on, but like the social side of like politics, I guess, because I feel like socially you can like get involved or like do, act on your beliefs, whatever they are. But like when it comes to politics, like you kind of just like, that's almost out of your control. It feels like you just kind of watch or hear like the governments argue back and forth.
Right.
So.
I hate social news articles. Can't stand them. I think they're a waste of time to read. But I definitely.
What do you mean by social news articles?
I mean stuff about celebrities and like e-news and teams and stuff like that. That social. I don't mean social issues. However, I don't find social issues articles to be that pertinent. I prefer to read political articles, especially editorials on politics, and so of course like sports articles ranging of all types. But I prefer opinion-based articles because I feel that you can get the facts in different places in the newspaper for something more in-depth than just the facts.
Okay. Got it. Have you ever felt like the graphic wasn't fairly covering the news or presenting a topic neutrally? If so, when and why?
I don't think I apply to this question, being that I've yet to read the graphic in whole.
True. Megan?
I do not apply.
Yeah, I don't know.
Chris?
I gotta think about this.
Okay.
In my personal opinion, I feel sometimes that I think the graphic and other newspapers with the graphic will bring to light quote-unquote issues that aren't issues at this school. For example, I have not noticed an issue with a lack of diversity at Pepperdine or things like that, and I think that my personal belief is it's better for newspapers to leave off the table something like that could just create controversy. Like there's a lack that the graphic could say there's a lack of diversity at Pepperdine. They're showing different things, whereas students have never noticed that, and that's not an issue that Pepperdine's dealing with. So why make that an issue that's a forefront if it's a non-issue to begin with, if that makes sense.
Okay. And then, have you ever felt angry, upset, disappointed, or offended by an article published by the graphic? If so, which article and why? No. What would impact you to read the graphic more often, do you think?
I think like more colorful pictures. I mean, everything on this page is black and white. Like, yes, it is a newspaper, but clearly that's not a thing when this page is all colorful. And then I think at the bottom of the CCB stairs is where I always see the graphic. And one of the reasons I've never read it is just I don't know what's in there. So I don't really feel like picking it up, trying to look through it and see something's interesting. So maybe even putting headliners above the little boxes or whatever you call them where the graphic is. Because if you say Pepperdine soccer, that really interests me. I could have played soccer in college. I wish I would have. That's something that is very interesting to me. Or campus renovations, like this or this is happening, like then I would probably read the graphic more.
So not the headline on the newspaper, but like the actual box,
Right, because
giving an idea of what's
I
inside.
just kind of think like, oh, the newspaper, like to me the newspaper has always just been the news. Like I can watch it on TV. Like obviously I can't with Pepperdine. We don't have our own like news channel,
Right.
but just word of mouth is kind of like how I get my Pepperdine news.
Okay.
And so if I'm reading a Facebook post or like I hear my roommate or someone talking about it, I don't really feel obligated to go try to read about it because they're already talking about it. But if it is something that I'm interested in and I know that I haven't heard anything about it, then I would read the graphic way more.
Got it.
Well, now that I know it's online, I may be more intrigued or at least more motivated to read it, just knowing that like for some reason for me it's easier to skim through online just because you can kind of search, kind of see what's going on. That's mostly it.
I feel like, cause I know it's there, but I guess I forget about it. So like maybe if like, cause like I don't really hang around people that know about the graphic either, and so like maybe if people knew more about it, like that there is a newspaper and there is another news source that they could see it, and I guess like saying on graphic like Twitter or whatever, like pick up the newspaper, like if they don't know what the graphic and they don't follow the Twitter kind of thing.
Right.
So like if they knew about it, then like I feel like people would be would want to pick it up.
Yeah.
So I think something that the graphic should add to are a few things. First of all, they need to increase their outreach to the online community, whether it's advertising their Twitter more, or advertising their online articles. The second thing that I think the graphic should do is Pepperdine's a small community or has a somewhat small student body. A lot of kids know each other. At other schools, I know the student newspapers do profiles on what their students are going to be doing during the summer. So for example, one of my good friends, when I did an internship with the Mets last summer, his school or the school newspaper did an entire profile about what that internship was going to entail, some of the things on his resume, and it really helps connect the student body. And I think it'll interest people if they know that's their friend. They want to know what their friend's doing. They see an article, and that would help people to read because it would personalize the newspaper.
Got it. Well, that is it for our good questions. Rolling. All right, guys. Welcome to our focus group.
Hi,
Hi.
Why don't you introduce yourselves to the camera? You go first.
I'm Jess.
I'm Megan.
I'm Rachel.
Chris.
2 juniors, a sophomore, and a senior. So we're just going to go down a list of questions, and we'll go around the room and have you answer them as we go. So question number 1. Have you ever read the graphic? If so, print or online, and why? Jess?
I've never read the graphic.
Megan?
I've never read the graphic.
I read the graphic.
Sometimes I look at the graphic on Twitter, and if I see an article that looks interesting, I'll read it.
Beautiful. Question number 2. Do you follow any of the graphic social media? And if so, do you find the graphic social media helpful?
I do not, but when Chris posts about it, I find it interesting and useful.
Yeah, if anything, I see you retweeting.
I don't follow any, but if I see it like on my timeline or something, then I'll click on it.
I've actually never tweeted, more so never tweeted about the graphic, but if you search for hashtag Pepperdine on Twitter, if you want to see, like, for example, when there was the mudslides closing down Canaan or Malibu Canyon, the graphic was updating it, and I could look there to see if school was canceled on Monday or not, so.
Question number 3. Just kind of flip through these for a little bit, and then tell me what articles in these editions stand out to you the most. Ones that you would be more likely to. Yeah, you can take a few minutes, whatever you need.
Let's write this up.
We're saying what interests us.
Yes. Well, just tell me what stood out to you.
one about Payson Library, just because that applies to me personally, because I use the library almost every day, but now I can't.
Payson
So
Library.
just like updates on it and what they're saying is happening, like more news about it, even like maybe what would be cool is like pictures of the renovation like happening so we can see progress.
Okay. Like that. Megan?
For me, one that stood out was one about the memorial service, about the foundation that was started for Cam Johnson just because he was in my class. So that's why it stuck out to me, just because I knew a little bit about him. So it's interesting to hear more about, and also the sports section.
Sports. Is there a reason for that in particular?
I just like sports.
Because her boyfriend's on baseball.
Okay.
I liked this one, the about the girl whose father was in 9/11, which I guess is why it's on the front. But the I think I actually read the article before and it was interesting.
Okay.
I appreciate the bad parking job of the week, because when I walk out of class and my car is smashed, then I look for cars like this so I can figure out who the person is and maybe we can get in contact with them, come to an agreement. But I do wish that, and I'm not sure how much because I don't read the graphic all the time,
It's okay.
I do wish that there were more articles pertaining to, as Jess said, construction on campus or developments, or what the future of the campus is going to look like. And I feel that an issue that Pepperdine has is campus life in general, so if they could add more and tell people more about what's going on, even if there's sporting events going on and people knew more stuff, there'd be better attendance at things such as games, events, etc.
Okay. Do you think that maybe that issue comes from nobody reading it?
Yeah, but
Right.
I don't know
Do you think
what
the
to say.
sports schedule maybe be
I think it'd be
incorporated?
great to have like these sports events at the very front of the graphic, or even next to the graphic, to have an area saying sports events, and you could read about it further in the
Yeah.
graphic.
Okay.
Even like when you walk into CCB or have the graphic in more areas, and people would use the graphic to go find something that they want to, like if there's sports
Right.
events on campus.
Right. Okay. That's actually a question coming up. Do you know where to find copies of the graphic on campus, and if so, where? Jess?
Bottom of the CCD stairs.
Okay.
That's it.
I see it in the CAF. It's usually around where most traffic's flowing.
Yeah, I know it's in the cap.
Okay.
Yeah, I've only seen it at the bottom of the CCB. So that's
Alright. What topics do you wish that you saw reported on more often in the graphic specifically?
I mean, like Chris said, like just campus updates, primarily like construction wise, because I feel like that's what our whole year is solely based upon right now. Versus like the mountain lion incident, like nobody really cares about that. Like if you see a mountain lion, you're not gonna like, oh my god, go try to give it a hug, you're
see
gonna go
page
away.
86 of the handbook.
But I just think like more recognizing what's actually happening. Like there's no parking on campus. Well, what's Pepperdine doing about it? Like they tore down Road or
Dewey.
Dewey, yeah. So what's happening there? When do they think it's going to be done and that kind of stuff? Just because even though you might not live there, it still kind of applies to you because it's creating like parking is crap because there's freaking 18-wheelers pulling in campus every day. Like that applies to every off-campus student who drives. Yeah, and maybe like sports stuff like when soccer wins this game or baseball does this or basketball does this, whatever it is. Just that kind of stuff.
Got it.
Yeah, as I say, the most stuff that I more read about is things that Pepperdine will be doing about the current issues instead of what's happened in the past, just because I want to know where my money's going and when they're going to have it done and see if it's going to affect me while I'm here or not.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that because I feel like a lot of people get like other news, like what's going on like politically and like socially, like with all over Twitter, like you see it there and like everywhere else. So it would be cool to just have something like different from that. So it's not just like any other news source talking about politics or like social issues and like what directly affects us like right now.
Okay. Got it.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. What topics do you wish you saw reported on more often in the graphic specifically?
Oh, like I said earlier in the answer to my last question, things going on around campus, specifically sporting events,
Okay.
and second, well, definitely the construction issues on campus.
Okay.
And I think it'd be a great look for the campus and the school itself, or for the newspaper and the school itself, to have things that events that Pepperdine's looking forward to having, or what's going on in the future for Pepperdine, projects that they're looking to build. This way people could get excited about the prospects of the school and even potentially donating to the school in the future if you're an alumni.
Got it. Where do you tend to get most of your news now?
I'd say through like Facebook posts, but not the ones that are like,
The Onion.
no, not the ones that are like, oh my god, I can't believe so and so's doing this. Like we all need to come together. No, like just like the straight like articles where it's like click this link and it takes you here, or just my